All right, guys, I'm going to show you how to answer this short response question that we talked about in class. So let's take a look at this prompt. Compare and contrast how each story develops the theme of determination being key to solving problems. The first thing I want to do is look at what this prompt is telling me to do and what I know about some of these key vocabulary words. So the words compare and contrast, that's showing me differences and similarities. And I'm just going to jot this down to the side like you would do. I know the theme of a story is the message or lesson a character learns. And then I know determination means that a character never gives up. And we're going to come back to this later. That's just going to kind of help you when you go back to reread the passages. So we've read the passages, we've read the prompt. Now that we've read the prompt, we go back through and look at those passages again. So Mystery of the Old Sea Chest was about Gloria, who found a chest in her grandmother's attic. She found a bunch of money in there. She didn't know who it belonged to. She asked her mother, asked her uncle, asked her grandmother's sister, and finally found out that her grandmother had been saving the money to take trips, and she was never able to take them. And then in Mile High Mystery, it was about this girl and her sister Missy that find a dog on their front porch and with the tag Mile High, and they try to find its home. So first they get a phone book out of the kitchen drawer. They didn't have a listing for Mile High, so they called the operator. They searched the internet, and they finally found one in Denver and found out that a family had just moved to their neighborhood from that area, and that's who the dog belonged to. So first thing we're going to do is compare and contrast these two stories into this chart. And you guys know you would use a Venn diagram or a double bubble for this, but you know I don't like that little bitty area in the middle. I feel like I can't get my words in. So I made a 3-column chart. In Mystery of the Old Sea Chest, first of all, what they have in same, they both have a theme of determination. Both characters have problems and are able to work through them to solve their mystery. Both of the stories also has help from family members. Then the way that they tried to tackle these challenges is what's going to be different here. So in Mystery of the Old Sea Chest, Gloria goes to multiple family members to solve her mystery. Not history. And then in Mile High Mystery, the main character uses the phone book and internet search to solve her mystery. So I've got this graphic organizer just to kind of guide what I'm getting ready to say. So let's go to the next slide. So this is where you would type out your introduction. You repeat the prompt without the bossy words and you make a statement. So my bossy words are my words that are telling me what to do. And the two words that are telling me what to do in this prompt are compare and contrast. So I would mark those off and I would get rid of the how and I would turn that into a statement. So I would say, change the color. Each story develops the theme of determination being key to solving problems. This is when I would go back to that first slide when I talked about the different vocabulary words, because I've got to prove to the reader I know what I'm talking about. So I would say a theme is a message or moral in a story, and determination is shown by a character who does not give up easily. And then I would say the main characters in both stories are met with obstacles they overcome to solve their problem. So all I did is I repeated the prompt right here. Then after I repeated the prompt, I gave you the definition of some of those key vocab words. And then I showed you how I would connect these things together with that last sentence. So I restated the prompt, gave definitions of vocab words that were from the prompt, and then I showed you how I would connect those. Then you would move into the body. Now, this is when you're proving that you know you're correct. So what I'm going back to is the statement right here that's saying that the main characters in both stories are met with obstacles they overcome to solve their problem. And now I've got to prove that. And when I prove that, it requires more than just evidence. Evidence is great, but you have to prove that you understand that evidence. You're not just repeating the text. Remember, every paragraph has its own main idea, so that will determine how many paragraphs you need here. We're comparing and contrasting, so we're going to have one paragraph that's going to talk about similarities, and we're going to have one paragraph that's going to talk about differences. So if I go back to that graphic organizer, I see that the things that they have in the same was the theme, and then how family members also helped them. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to start typing out my body paragraph that has the similarities. So I would say in both stories, the main character has their family help them achieve, solve their problem. So that's my statement. Then I need to go and prove it. So I'm going to think about the two stories. In Mystery of the Old Sea Chest, Gloria goes to multiple family members to find out information about her grandmother's chest. So I've proven one of the stories. Now I need to go and try the other one. So I would say in Mile High Mystery, the main character, Mom, offers advice on how to find the dog's home. They are also similar because they both have a theme of determination. Both characters go through many obstacles to solve their problem. All right, so there's my similarities. But remember, when you compare and contrast, you have to state the differences too. And the thing that I said was different was how the characters approach their problem. So let's flip back to my graphic organizer. I said Gloria uses her family members to solve the mystery, and this main character uses things like a phone book and an internet search to solve her mystery. So I would say in mystery, or we would say these stories have differences as well. In Mystery of the Old Sea Chest, Gloria interviews family members to solve her problem. In Mile High Mystery, both characters overcome multiple obstacles to solve their mysteries. Whew. Okay, so I've got my similarities and I've got my differences. Now let me break these paragraphs down for you so you can kind of see what I did. So the first thing is I make a statement. The main character has their family help them solve the problem. That's my similarity. Then I move to evidence. So I tell you exactly how this happens in both of the stories. So I specifically mentioned something from Mystery of the Old Sea Chest, and I specifically mentioned something from In Mile High Mystery. Then at the end, I give you my connection. I explain how I know that all of this is true. I explain to you how I know this evidence connects to what I said. And then I do the same thing again. This is my statement. These stories have differences. That's what I'm trying to prove. Then I move into my evidence and I start proving it with something that happens in Mystery of the Old Sea Chest and something that happens in Mile High Mystery. And then my last sentence is that connection again. Proving to you I know what I'm talking about. It's got the same formula. Then we move into our conclusion. So I'm going to go back to my introduction because your conclusion is going to look very similar. They're not going to be the exact same, but it's going to be the same ideas. So I'm going to mention that both the stories develop a theme of determination, and that how they do that is both the main characters are met with obstacles they overcome to solve their problem. So let's do it. Both stories develop a theme of determination, being key to solving problems. The main characters in both stories overcome multiple obstacles to, I really stop when I say solve their problem, to find the answers they're looking for. And that's it. So let's just go back and review what we did. First, we looked at the definitions of the key vocabulary words from my prompt. We reread those passages. We organized it into a Venn diagram based on what the prompt was asking me for. We moved into our introduction, which is where we got rid of those bossy words. We created a statement. We shared the definitions we understood from the prompt, and then we showed our connection. Then we came into our body, where we were focusing on two things, which was differences and similarities. We stated our opinion, which is that both the characters had family help them. We proved it, we connected it, and then we did it again. Said they had differences, we proved it, we connected it. And then we came back in the end and repeated our conclusion. And that is it. And the key word that you're going to need to turn into me to prove that you watched and listened to this entire thing is... So, write that on a sticky note, slip it to me, and I'll know that you watched the whole thing. All right.